All right, everybody, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. I think that we are. Chat is working. About 100 people are waiting for the live stream, so it should be fine. This is Friday, so of course, for the next couple of days, I don't live stream, although I will be live streaming during the Iowa caucus. That's going to be a big one. So I'm going to be going for a couple of hours probably during that. So there's going to be over the coming months more live streaming. Like, I'm definitely doing Super Tuesday. I'll probably get like a hotel room for that because of the increased risk of somebody starting shenanigans at my address. And so I'll be in an undisclosed location for that. We've got a lot to talk about today. Oh boy, we've got the Never Nikki movement. Of course, Rand Paul starting that. He's decided to take her down a peg. You don't really want Rand Paul as a political opponent because he's got a relatively good brand. He's relatively well liked by independent voters. And so if he guns for you, politically, that can get a little bit messy. I think any damage done, by the way, to the Trump train in New Hampshire by Chris Christie dropping out is pretty much counterbalanced by Rand Paul doing this. He's literally got a goddamn website dedicated solely to taking down Nikki Haley. So we'll talk about that. We have war in Yemen, a hot war now. The United States conducting a number of strikes in Yemen on Houthi rebel targets because they keep attacking our ships. And I'll get into why this is ultimately Biden's fault, his administration's fault. Yes, I know, sticks, but we're just retaliating because they attacked us. Well, it's a little bit more nuanced than that if you follow the chain backwards a little bit. So we'll be discussing the looming war in Yemen. Taiwan's presidential election is on now. Presidential election in 2024 with profound implications for the wider world certainly sounds familiar, but this one is happening a lot sooner than you might think. Yes, Taiwan. We'll talk about that. Also, Canada. Canada, like what the fuck? Because in Quebec, they're warning people not to film package thieves and put it on the internet because they might violate the privacy of the people that are literally trying to rob them. We have two fucking weird goddamn stories to cap off at the end. Alabama prisoners' bodies returned to families with hearts and other organs missing, according to one lawsuit. And then the feds are charging eBay because some employees sent spiders and cockroaches to a couple that was, they maintain, I think, a blog or a website that the higher ups at eBay didn't really like. Up front, I'll say that I use eBay commonly. I have no problem with them. I love eBay because you can get all the junk drawer stuff, all the miscellany, vintage and things like that I tend to be into. Way better on eBay than on any competing site. You're not going to get it as much. Etsy's more like homemade crafts and shit like that. Amazon's more for like the standard things and then books. And I use Amazon, of course, for POD. But eBay, ultimately, if I'm getting heirloom seeds, if I'm getting weird vintage shit, if I'm getting like ancient cologne from the 1970s or something, I will definitely choose eBay. That they get a little bit of a problem there. We'll be talking about that. People are pouring in. There are now over 700 people already watching live. One of the fringe benefits of my job, I get to talk to thousands of people at a time, but it's not in person. I'm just a two-dimensional image on your screen rendered in pixel form. Think about that for a moment. It's kind of mind-blowing. Branch Covidian-19. An Illinois state senator introduced a bill to revoke residents' driver's licenses if they don't comply with the state's gun control. I did see that. I will be probably talking about that tomorrow. In fact, let me pull that up really quick. Yeah, I'll pull that. Thank you for that, for reminding me. That'll be a big news story for tomorrow, I think. Yeah, I mean, they're fucking crazy as fuck. I don't know that it's even going to be ruled legal in the end for them to do so. Meanwhile, illegal aliens are allowed to get driver's licenses, I believe, in Illinois. That's you can break the law, just not certain laws, of course. eBay terminated my account for using a VPN, says Alex K. I never bother. eBay's a mainline site, and it's not so much that I trust them, so to speak, as a major corporation. It's just very, very convenient, especially for heirloom seeds. Back in the day, I would only use eBay. World Seed Supply, who now they have their own website now. Dank Wizard. I am watching you live for the first time. Thanks for the great content. Thank you very much. Much more to come. To come. Ha ha ha. Get it? Ha ha ha. Yeah, I'm allowed to make weird jokes. Anyway, we'll start off with hashtag Never Nikki. This is from Cassandra McDonald, who works, of course, with Timcast. I've talked with her about her pet monkeys. I really want to have one like clamber onto my shoulder and feed it pieces of mango and banana, because monkeys are great. Senator Rand Paul has launched a Never Nikki campaign against Republican presidential candidate and disgraceful war pig, Nikki Haley. The Kentucky senator said, "As I look over the field, I don't think I yet have a first choice. I suspect that he does. I suspect that it's Donald Trump. But I do know one thing. Count me in as hashtag Never Nikki." She even personally received millions of dollars from the arms merchants who benefit from the war, a conflict of interest that undergirds her eagerness for foreign military intervention, Senator Paul wrote. By the way, he's no fan of the current strikes happening in Yemen either. Again, we'll be discussing that next. This position isn't new either. As governor of South Carolina, she gave tax dollars to those same arms merchants, and they showered her with campaign contributions and a seat on their board when she left office. Hashtag it is true. Senator Paul's post continued. While most others were decrying the mistakes of the past 20 years and fighting for an America First foreign policy, Nikki Haley was aligning herself with and declaring her foreign policy allies to be John McCain and Lindsey Graham. By the way, the latter, good reason to reject her. I find this good. Again, Rand Paul is not necessarily a person in politics that you want to be your enemy, because he's got higher name recognition, a relatively good reputation. I know some of the liberals are like, well, he's controlled by Russia. Nobody cares what they think. Among independent voters, though, Rand Paul's name carries weight. And so for him to give an unendorsement as opposed to an endorsement actually is a very wise move. While I suspect that he expects and wants Trump to be the nominee, it does more damage to her if he single-mindedly focuses on taking her campaign down, because there ain't nobody else in the field who's viable in any other state other than New Hampshire. Nikki Haley is within striking distance, possibly. It depends on the polls that you trust. I think she's still down by double digits. If you look at New Hampshire polling, though, the closest anyone is to within striking distance of Trump is Nikki Haley in New Hampshire, which I don't think in the end gets her the nomination. I don't believe this hype about the Nikki Haley surge, dark horse candidate bullshit. I see the writing on the wall, and it's 99% Trump is the nominee. I don't think even if she wins New Hampshire that she prevails, because she loses her home state of South Carolina. She's more than 30 points down there. That being said, every little thing counts, and Rand Paul's unendorsement of Nikki Haley is very, very helpful. And congratulations to Rand Paul, because at least you're consistent. There aren't many consistent Republicans, you may have noticed. They tend to be the party of inconsistency. Democrats, very consistent. Oh, the mainline Democrats, you know exactly how they're going to vote on every bill. You know exactly what they're going to say in every interview. They're very formulaic, very scripted, very top down. With the Republicans, it's more of a hodgepodge. And this has been both a weakness and a strength, and it sort of depends on the situation. Right now, you should be unifying to try to beat Biden, or whoever the Dem nominee is, presumptively Biden. But instead, they just keep pretending that Trump doesn't have a technical incumbency, and they pretend that Nikki Haley is a conservative. Well, she's not. Nikki Haley is in favor of gun control. I realize she passed expanded concealed carry, but I mean, that's been a thing in every state, including blue states, Vermont being the first one, by the way, to have a constitutional carry. Vermont's not exactly a red state. She is in favor. She said Hillary Clinton was the person who got her into politics. Oh, it was so inspiring seeing Hillary Clinton in the Senate. Yeah, wonderful. Again, rock-ribbed conservative. She's in favor of parents being able to gender bend their 12-year-olds. She stated this explicitly, and so on and so on and so on forth. And she's a warmonger. I'm not surprised that Rand would be against her. And I think that the way that he took her down was epic. Actually, it's better than, I mean, I like this more than if he had come out and said, I endorse Donald Trump. That would have buoyed him a little bit. This helps him even more, actually. Let's see. Journey, trials, and joy. At this point, the U.S. system is not working. They can just wage war without declaring it. Why do we have senators or Congress? It is possible for a U.S. president to react to a situation in such a fashion. It's not unconstitutional what Joe Biden is doing currently. It's just very, very stupid. And I'm going to explain, trust me, why it is stupid and why he is responsible for the reason why there was a response in the first place. Son of Tiamat. Nothing is sacred to the Lolbert. Everything is reduced to transactional market activity. Human meat should therefore be legal because meat is meat. If a person wishes upon their death to allow their meat to be sold, I would say, yeah, who gives a fuck? Taking someone else's meat would violate their NAP, however. The bonus holes, taco. Lots of taco emojis. X at the bonus holes. Yes, indeed. The bonus holes are over on Twitter. Ceiling Friend, finally caught you live. Wife got me 3 books for Christmas, especially enjoyed occult memology. You mean occult memetics. Fuck New York Times and Columbia University. Stay comfy, friend. Yes, I got your message earlier. Journey Trials and Joy. Do you believe the reason why these rich people are preparing for a major event? This event might have to do with offing Trump or cheating the election. It's possible. Disease X is another thing that they're banting about currently. Jake Martin. Morning, Sticks. Can I please get a shout out for Honest Jake's Tile, Wood, Flooring, and Hand Jobs Plus in Yorba Linda? Thanks, Sticks. I have a feeling that that's shenanigans, but I'll shout you out anyway because you paid me. Hand Jobs Plus. Shelly Babes. Hunter. It puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again. Now, Hunter's a weird fucking dude. He's got some fucking issues. I don't agree with the gun charge against him, though, because I think that if you're smoking crack, you should still have a gun. Crack addicts more likely to attempt to steal your stereo, or I'm showing my age by that reference, more likely to steal your flat screen TV than they are to try to shoot you. And be shaken so bad they probably couldn't aim anyway, so you know, just tip them over. Jason Lane, honkening was so blatant in 20 with no consequences other than getting their way. What's to stop them from doing it again? An enormous shift in polling and the defortification of a couple of the states that were involved in those shenanigans. Swamp Donkey, if Taiwan isn't willing to take their own sovereignty seriously, then they should be taken over by the PRC. They won't martialize their society. They won't spend more than 2% on defense armaments. Well, part of that is because the United States provides a shit ton of armaments. So, I mean, we do this with Europe, too. For a long time, their defense spending was pennies on the dollar because the United States was guarding the sea lanes. The United States was supplying the tanks, et cetera, et cetera. Other than the Germans, they developed the Leopard tank. Otherwise, it's basically the U.S. funding every fucking thing. And so it sort of makes sense now. You know, you've got that extra defense budget because somebody else is paying for it. I do believe in martializing Taiwan, but we'll get to their election. I don't think the Chinese will, in the end, win politically. Rogue Runner, I'm 22. Life is fucked, and just read some meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I think I've got a digital copy, actually, of one of his works. About to go save my own life. $5 because you're a legend, Sticks. Hashtag never Nikki. Yes, just self-improve. Be as strong as you can. Drop a vice. Build a new skill. Your life will at least marginally improve as a simple result of that. FedEx going by. Aw, I was hoping to get a package. People keep sending me cool shit. Next news story. The U.S. and the U.K. are striking Houthis on the coast of Yemen at the moment, and the Houthis are vowing revenge. So we are now effectively at a state of war with yet another group. We've already been funding the Ukrainian war. We've already been funding Israel's war in Gaza. We're already looking nervously over at Taiwan on a daily basis and at Guyana over the Venezuela issue, actually. Of course, the people there voting in what was totally honk, a fair election to try to annex Essequibo. And now we're at war in Yemen. Now, part of it is unavoidable. The Houthi rebels have been targeting U.S. naval vessels. They've been attacking merchant ships, etc. But let's trace the timeline backwards and see who's really responsible. So right now we're striking targets in Yemen. We're striking the Houthis. The Houthis attacked us because of our support for Israel in their war in Gaza. That war began because Hamas decided to cross the border with paragliders and shit and attack Israel, killing a bunch of people in the process, taking hostages, etc. Hamas only did that because of a weak, feckless U.S. foreign policy. It's for the same reason that things popped off in Ukraine. There was a reason why, under the weakness of Obama in foreign policy, because he didn't understand it. There was a reason why Crimea got attacked, for example, by the Russians. When Trump was president, nothing like that happened. There was an attempt at rapprochement. Peace almost broke out in the Korean Peninsula. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere diplomatically. Biden gets into office. What do our enemies say? The United States currently has a dysfunctional Congress, fundamentally incapable of acting even on major issues. It has an out-to-lunch commander-in-chief and a weak military because the military has been wokeified. It's understaffed. There aren't enough people signing up because why the fuck would you want to sign up for the military right now in order to be given a lecture on transgendered rights, basically? You join the military to get 3 hots and a cot and learn to shoot guns, basically, and learn how to, like, eat weird shit out in the jungle or how to survive in the desert and not dehydrate or starve to death. That's what the military is for. It's for pounding your enemies. But the U.S. military is running low on ammo. It's running low on missiles. It's running low on people that are actually properly trained to fly the goddamn plane and sail the goddamn ship because of wokeness and weakness and a shit economy, by the way. So U.S. manpower and troop readiness is at an all-time low at the moment, or at least for the last 100 years. Our military was more ready in the time of Theodore Roosevelt, or certainly at any point in the Cold War, much more ready than it is today. Joe Biden has done this. It is because of Joe Biden and the people around him, their stupid policies towards the military and diplomacy, that this is popping off. So while we're simply responding to attacks on our ships, those attacks would not have happened at all had we a sane foreign policy and a centralized command structure that was actually capable of doing its job. Christ on a stick, Lloyd Austin is still out to lunch. He's still in the ICU. Biden himself didn't even know for 3 days that his own Secretary of Defense was languishing in the goddamn hospital. I think that the Houthis probably decided to take advantage of the situation. So too is Iran. So too are forces in Syria and in Iraq, various guerrilla movements and so forth. And by the way, the bunch of different tribal forces, some of them are attacking U.S. troops and the others like, maybe we want to step back and calm down. What are we supposed to do, though, about the situation? We don't have the manpower. We don't have enough force projection at the moment because of the weakness of the U.S. military under idiot Biden to actually respond. We've been dragged now into a third war. This is auxiliary to the issue in Israel. So we're supposed to prop up Israel and Ukraine at the same time while fighting a shooting war against the Houthis, aided by both Iran and various pirate groups. I don't think that we have the means to do this, not without enormous expenditures, and that's become a problem too. Yeah. And the Houthis are vowing more attacks. So, I mean, if you're not going to wipe them off the face of the earth, you're not accomplishing anything by doing a few targeted strikes anyway. Oh, we really made our point. We spent several $1 million firing a missile that killed 5 or 6 rebels. That makes a whole lot of sense. Let's see. Alan Smithy, what's up? Hashtag no notification squad. Yes, multiple people telling me my notifications are not coming through. It's not just on YouTube either. Son of Tiamat. By the way, Distributist erroneously claims Austrian painter wasn't a socialist or left-wing. He's proof that third positionists are temporarily embarrassed right-wingers with a far-left economic belief. Jean, how is the cologne, Sticks? I liked it a lot. Yes, indeed. And sent you a postcard in return. Stamped with the J.D. Spares Ouroboros logo, by the way. Don't know if you've gotten it yet. The Flaxen Saxon take. Sweden, a country of only 10 million, has over 500,000 non-Europeans. Military, both active and reserve, combined only number about 50,000 personnel. I doubt they could handle civil unrest, but they claim to be afraid of Russia. Yeah, you'd think they'd want to beef up their military a little bit. Kilowatt, every acting surprised we struck Yemen, but forget Trump bombed them, as did Satan, I mean Obama. This is another I support the current thing BS. Yes, we did conduct strikes in Yemen, but we weren't routinely experiencing attacks on our vessels at the time. The reason the Houthi are doing that is because they know they can. Wise up. Lee Zeldin is a Trump ally who backed him during BS coup impeachment, and great pick for VP who can move New York and lean Pennsylvania to the right. I don't think Trump can take New York, but Lee Zeldin would be on a list of people that would make a good potential running mate. Yeah. Garage Adelic Jonas, thanks again, Sticks. Been enjoying your content for years now. Much more to come. Thank you.
Ceiling Friend, Occult Memetics, my bad. Demonology of King James I is a fun to read aloud with the 16th century writing. I know. The more dramatic we read, the more hilarious. I like that one. Very bloody manuscript, resulted in tens of thousands of deaths, but historically speaking, still interesting. Alamandorius, it's amazing how many people can't do a basic bit of research about Mar-a-Lago. The biggest comeback is it had a restricted deed. But if you read the deed, it says nothing about limiting land value. Exactly. Shelly Babes, our military is also rampant with cancer. I didn't know that that was a problem in the military. Too many people around the nuclear generators again? Lord of the Ree. Nikki Haley is not only a war whore, but an actual whore as well. The state is a multinational corporation with a monopoly on force. Your friendly neighborhood anarchist. Clank. Yeah, it seems that she's gotten up to some shenanigans in the bed. He doesn't get a chance to do that as much now. Laszlo the Investigator. Sticks, can I get a shout out for my channel on all platforms? Laszlo the Investigator. Keep up the good work. Consider that a shout out. Next news story. We've got Taiwan's election. The vast majority of people in Taiwan don't want to be ruled by China. I can and can't possibly imagine why. Whose strongman leader Xi Jinping has tightened his grip at home as the country becomes more aggressive towards its neighbors. By the way, pissing off the Vietnamese, their fellow communists, on a regular basis. They waged 2 wars against Vietnam. To the United States won, and Vietnam won every single time. So I wouldn't want to fuck with the Vietnamese. There are certain people in the world you don't want to fuck with. The Vietnamese, the Finns, the Australians, because literally, I mean, it's a survival hazard to even go outside or be inside. So, you know, they tend to be fairly hardy. Texans would come to mind. And bully the Californians, though. No offense to any Californians watching. I'm sure you're one of the good ones. You're the model minority within your state. China is openly opposed to Taiwan's current ruling party and framed the election as a choice between war and peace, prosperity and decline. Xi delivered a fresh warning to Taiwan in a New Year's Eve speech. By the way, they do this frequently, so don't read into it too much, declaring the reunification of the motherland as a historical inevitability. I support this. I just believe that the government in Taipei should be the one running it, as opposed to the commies. Taiwan also remains the biggest source of tension between China and the U.S., the island's main international backer and arms supplier, which I support because they at least buy, and relations between the world's 2 superpowers have been rocky for years. Here's what you need to know about this crucial election. The frontrunner in the tight race is Lai Ching-te, the current vice president from the ruling Democratic Progressive Party. By the way, that doesn't make it a left-wing party. The terminology is a little bit different in the sense of East Asian politics. You may have noticed this, which champions Taiwan's de facto sovereignty and separate identity from China. A doctor-turned-politician, Lai has previously described himself as a practical worker for Taiwan independence, a claim that enraged Beijing and worried Washington. By the way, if you're from this country, I would support Lai if I was you, because reuniting with China on their terms probably lead part of your population to get purged, just saying. He has moderated his stance on the campaign trail, pledging, like Tsai, to keep up a status quo and offering to talk with Beijing under principles of equality and dignity. Beijing has rebuffed his offers, calling him a war maker and destroyer of cross-strait peace. You get a lot of sweeping hyperbolic statements in Chinese press releases, sort of like reading something from Kim Jong-un. His running mate, Sao Bi Kim, is a well-known figure in Washington, where she recently served as Taiwan's envoy. His biggest challenger is Hu Yu-yi, a former police officer and popular mayor of New Taipei City from the Kuomintang, Taiwan's main opposition party, which traditionally favors closer ties with China. He blames the DPP for provoking China and advocates peaceful relations with its neighbor by keeping dialogue open. So sort of like a soft kind of sort of maybe we might reunify at some point, but we got to talk about it for the next 20 years sort of thing. The third contender, Ko Wen-je, hails from Taiwan's People's Party, which he founded in 2019. The charismatic former mayor of Taipei paints himself as a political outsider. His focus on bread and butter issues has been especially well received by younger voters, many of whom have grown frustrated with Taiwan's traditional political duopoly, as well as stagnant wages and unaffordable homes. On relations with China, Ko has touted a middle path, accusing the DPP of being too hostile and criticizing the KMT for being too differential. So, I would vote for Lai if I were in Taiwan. Because reunifying with China, again, comes with the caveat that a significant proportion of your population will get gulagged or killed.
I think that Taiwan should militarize its population and take up a Switzerland-style stance. Make it too unaffordable to invade effectively. Make it too messy. That's all you got to do. Trust your own population with a shit ton of guns and other goodies, and the rest will take care of itself. What's China going to do? Pit bomb your island until they're all dead? Kill 5-6 million people in the process and drive the rest screaming onto refugee boats? I don't think that China would be able to weather that diplomatically. Militarize the population. That's all you have to do. Taiwan was asking for nukes some time ago. I think Japan and South Korea are sort of questioning that arrangement too. No, just militarize your population. Make it impossible for the enemy to ever penetrate beyond a beachhead because they would take such drastic casualties. You know, you would have a gun behind every blade of grass, or I guess every leaf on the banyan tree at that point if you're in Taiwan. Give them guns. United States makes plenty of them. We can supply them. It'd be great for U.S. arms companies. That brings in tax revenue and shit. Sell the Taiwanese all sorts of AR-15s and Glocks and cool shit like that. Alamandorius, it's amazing how many people can't do a... oh, I already did that one. And yes, I know Glock's not a U.S.-based firm, but I believe some of their guns are manufactured stateside anyway. Sparky, greetings, fearless leader. Greetings to you. Nelson's TASS and Game Archive. Headline, CDC gave $540K off the books to an illegal immigrant from Argentina running a transit equity consulting firm to push agenda to drag queens. I don't know if I can say the first word there on YouTube. Yeah, not a big surprise. I'll look that up too. Send me a news tip in Twitter DM. D. Schneid. False flag in the U.S. leads to full-blown World War III with Iran. Elections are canceled and Millie gains control. Think it could happen? No, I don't think people would have tolerance for that. Jason Lane. What impact would you expect a Tucker VP pick to have on states critical to securing Trump's next term? I think that Tucker Carlson would be a perfectly acceptable running mate. He'd get a huge amount of attention. He is extremely rhetorically skilled. Yeah. By the way, the Fox News audience, they'd be confused. Chris Gray. Hey, Stick's been watching your content since 2016. Many states are using a company from the UK to monitor, report, and record anyone who talks about the election. Oregon is one of them. It's called RFP-MDM. Huh, I haven't heard of that. Generalissimo Liberty. I have a strange feeling the map will go red and the Democrats will then accuse Republicans and MAGA of cheating. Stranger things have happened. Just look at the last couple of elections. Sparky. U.S. keeps their stooges in charge in Taiwan. Despite constant propaganda, these stooges have progressively less support as the U.S. empire fades. I would disagree with the basic surmisation that you are making. Green Text Pro. Sticks, would you be willing to make a couple self-improvement vids about becoming more productive every day as a creative type who is low conscientious? Yeah, I've done some videos on anti-black pill stuff. We can do another. Pete2778, been a while since I caught you live. Sticks, keep keeping on. Alamandorius, thank you for double reading my chat. Lol. Also, I'm guessing from the way you read it the first time, you've had a lot of people try that restricted deed nonsense with you. Yes, I've seen that claim before. Oh, the Mar-a-Lago is not actually worth much because, you know, there's land restrictions. Okay, you can rent out like the fucking, 90 bedrooms for $1,000 a night, make 90 grand in a single day. Yeah, that land is totally worthless. Sparky, U.S. plans to Ukraine, Taiwan. Follow Garland Nixon for details. Over on Rumble, let's see. Free speech is a human right. Trump lawyer says he could legally assassinate rivals. Leftists claim he's stupid as it implies Biden could kill him. 4D chess by Trump raised the issue in public in case Biden's people are planning it. Yeah, no, I think it was more just a legal detail. I don't think it has to do with that. Big Hook PGH. Oh, what a day. Oh, what a lovely day. I finally caught a Sticks live stream. Could you kindly check out my Rumble channel, Big Hook PGH? It's about my tow truck and the towing industry. That sounds pretty cool. Sacto Dave, Pumpkin Fire Crafts is awesome. Yes, let's shout them out. Links in the description on both platforms, as well as pinned at the top if you're watching on YouTube. Pumpkin Fire Crafts and Anton's Biltong, both available. Pumpkin Fire Crafts can get you Sticks, X, and Hammer keychains, bookmarks, etc. And belt chains as well, necklaces, amulets, I call them because that makes them twice as cool. And on landofbiltong.com or antonsusa.com, you can get a variety of delicious meats, Carolina Reaper, Angus is coming soon. I think at the end of the month, he said. As well as some Styx Hexenhammer merch. There are tumblers, there are mugs, which a lot of people like because of the Clank meme, and also shirts are available as well. Also, I should point out that pinned at the top on YouTube is actually my books blog. Sorry, I forgot that. It's also available cross-platform. You can get books about history, anthropology, the occult, the paranormal, black magic, demonology, fortune-telling, astrology, theosophy, the Masons, and pretty much every other good subject that you could possibly want. There's hundreds of volumes available, so no worries, I got your back. Next news story. Canadian police warn that posting videos of alleged package thieves could be a violation of their privacy. Police in the Canadian province of Quebec, that's not far north of me, I mean, it's an hour and a half's drive, warned citizens against posting surveillance footage of their packages being stolen because it could violate the private life of the alleged thieves. Montreal West is known for its large porches, but around the holidays, those porches are a big target for thieves or porch pirates, CTV News Montreal video journal Olivia O'Malley reported Saturday. It's something we deal with on a daily basis, said Montreal West councillor responsible for public security, Lauren Small-Pennefather. Very Canadian-sounding name. You have people that are following the vehicles, and when they see a parcel that's dropped off, they go and take the parcel if nobody comes to the door to retrieve the parcel. However, the province's local police force, the Sûreté de Québec, or SQ, warned local citizens against sharing footage of the porch thieves. You cannot post the images yourself because you have to remember in Canada, we have a presumption of innocence, and posting that picture could be a violation of private life, Communications Officer Lieutenant Benoit Richard warned. If you get some proof that somebody might have stolen something, call the police. Give the proof to the police, he said. We'll do the investigation, bring that person to justice, and file some charges. That's perfectly fine, but if somebody trespasses on your property and steals from you, I'm not too concerned with their privacy. Why would you? I mean, who gives a damn? They've clearly committed the crime. If you can identify the person in the video, it's not an allegation at that point. It's just a reality. This is what I think about crime in general. You shouldn't be able to be found guilty unless there's corroborating evidence. This is a big problem in the hashtag #MeToo bullshit movement, for example. But if you've got someone dead to rights because you've got a video of them doing something wrong, you got a video of a rape, you got a video of a murder, you got a video of whatever, doesn't it? I mean, if somebody's on your own property, is it illegal to record your own porch? Is that what they're indicating? So you can have the recording, but you can't show it to other people because then you're violating the privacy of someone who violated your property rights and attempted to steal from you. I don't know. Canada, what are you smoking? It makes no sense. In most places in the United States, it's perfectly acceptable. You can also put out a decoy package, of course, the glitter bomb or something like that. You probably can't do that in Canada either. It's 2024, so of course the police care more about criminals than victims of crime. Canadian journalist Ezra Levant wrote, by the way, familiar name. The Quebec police are saying this because it embarrasses them how much theft occurs without consequence. Commentator Chris Tomlinson wrote, reported to them and they'll file it away and pretend it never happened. There are many such cases. I believe him when he says that, especially in Canada. I think this way, if you walk onto somebody's property, unless it's like somebody secretly recording you taking a shit or something like that, or showering or something, unless it's something lewd and perverted, it should be absolutely legal for you to record and to put it on the internet. Like if somebody trespasses here and I record them, I'll put it on the internet. I don't give a fuck. What are they going to do about it? Sparky, US. Oh, I already did that. You almost got a double. Hell, kitty. I watch your videos every day while I shit. Thanks. Laxative effect. Sparky, Niceys, a screeching hag. Yes, Nikki Haley. Hashtag never Nikki. Nelson's TASS and Game Archive. Thoughts on DoD report leak that $1 billion in RPGs, rifles, ammo, and bombs has gone missing on the way to Ukraine, most into South America, the Balkans, and Myanmar. I'm not surprised at all. Of course it's going to be sold on the black market, dude. Last year, I can't remember the month, there was a report, somebody was on the dark web, they were selling anti-air missiles from Ukraine on the dark web. It might be shenanigans, it might have been entrapment or something like that, but apparently for a few $100,000, you can get yourself an anti-air missile and blow a Boeing out of the air. Well, that really comforts me. The bonus holes, if you haven't heard the band Stolen Babies, I highly suggest checking them out. Their drummer used to drum for Marilyn Manson, by the way, just saying. Sounds pretty good. Let's see. I think it was, your mom was a hamster. Thanks, Sticks, for all you do. You got me to start gardening, get on Rumble, and most importantly, never get black-pilled. Well, it's hard to be black-pilled when you're in a garden. Grandpa Nurgle, is this a new time slot? I dig it. I will be finalizing my finalized time slot next week. For this week, it was a little up in the air. And then Quartering asked me not to overlap with his 1 to 3, and I agreed because he said he would help promote things. And so I might go after, I might go before, I might go morning, I might go evening. I'm not exactly sure. I'll figure it out in my head before I get to that. Musically assured destruction. If Trump wins in 2024, are you worried if Dems find fraudulent votes were cast or try other shenanigans to overturn the election? I doubt that they would try to do that. They're more likely to just riot, honestly. Be really disorganized at that point. Trump will smirk at them. Next news story. Alabama prisoners' bodies returned to families with hearts and other organs missing, according to a lawsuit. The bodies of 2 men who died while incarcerated in Alabama's prison system were missing their hearts or other organs when returned to their families, a federal lawsuit alleges. The family of Brandon Clay Dotson, who died in the state prison in November, filed a federal lawsuit last month after the Alabama Department of Corrections and others saying his body was decomposing and his heart was missing when his remains were returned to his family. So Alabama's organ harvesting prisoners. Oh, that's not ominous at all. It happened in Alabama. Yeah, I would believe it. In a court filing on the case last week, the daughter of Charles Edward Singleton, another deceased inmate, said her father's body was missing all internal organs when returned in 2021. Lauren Fayano, an attorney representing Dotson's family, said via email Wednesday, the experience of multiple families shows this is absolutely part of a pattern. Now, this could be potentially somebody within the prison who's making money on the side organ harvesting. We don't know that the warden said, well, if they die in the prison, then fuck them. We'll take the organs and give them to someone else. It's more likely about profit than anything else. I would search into I'm assuming there's footage of the medical team there that would deal with dead bodies. I would definitely do that. They should look into it. Look into the private correspondence of the people in the prison, and you'll probably find that a group of people covering one another's asses were sharing revenue from harvesting the hearts and kidneys and shit. Put them on ice, ship them out on the black market. There are people that are willing to pay inordinate amounts. I can't remember what a kidney goes for. It's tens of thousands. A heart probably goes for a shit ton more. Are we going to find that Dick Cheney has a dead convict's heart beating in his chest? I think he's on heart number 3 right now, and he never learned to use any of them. So, defendant's outrageous and inexcusable mishandling of the deceased's body amounts to a reprehensible violation of human dignity and common decency, the lawsuit states, adding that their appalling misconduct is nothing short of grave robbery and mutilation. Yeah, by the way, those carry hefty charges. Dotson's family, while seeking information about what happened to his heart, discovered other families had similar experiences. So she wrote that the funeral director told her that normally the organs are in a bag placed back in the body after autopsy. Charles had been brought to the funeral home with no internal organs. The court filing was first reported by WBMA. A federal judge held a hearing in the Dotson case last week. AI.com reported that the hearing provided no answers about the location of the heart. I can tell you where it is. It's in somebody else's chest, and there's probably no paperwork to trace it. There's no other plausible explanation, unless you've got a goddamn psychopath doctor working there, why the organs would be missing. The organs, the internal organs of the human body are extremely valuable. You could probably make $100,000 or something harvesting them. Like if you grab the heart and the kidneys and the liver and everything else, and they're properly prepared and stored on ice, and you get them out quickly enough so they're still viable. Yeah, you could probably make $100,000. Well, with Biden inflation, it's probably $150,000 now. Or it could be some total sicko that's eating the organs. It's possible. It's not likely, but, it could be someone who's into some weird shit. Real life Hannibal Lecter or something, I guess. Liver. Oh, yeah, I'm going to turn this into pate. Chewy lungs. Yeah, tastes just like shrimp. Sparky, go Houthis, fight the power. Yeah, I don't think that they would have the ability to stand up against the U.S. military, but, it is sort of the Biden admin's fault. They're the ones that provoked the entire situation through incompetence. So, if U.S. vessels are being fired on, it doesn't really surprise me at all. Yeah. Some people, wasn't there a cannibal one time that said that human meat kind of tasted a little bit like pork and with the consistency of tuna or something like that? Wasn't it a Japanese cannibal or something was weighing in on that? And it's like pork tuna mix. That's how people taste. I don't know. I think that I'll pass. It doesn't sound necessarily up my alley. I'll stick with Anton's biltong, the ghost pepper wagyu. That's exciting enough for me. I love weird foods, but human flesh, eating within your own species causes bad things. Like like that one disease that I think is common in New Guinea or something, where they eat one another's brains when people die, or mad cow disease, prions and things like that. The bonus holes, long pork. Yeah, apparently human meat tastes a bit like pork, but with a different consistency or something. I don't know. I'm not a huge pork fan, although bacon, I will admit, is good. But I don't think there's enough fat on the average person to make bacon. Harrison Bergeron, is it strange to me that it is strange to me that everyone involved in an organ donation gets paid in some way. Hospitals, doctors, nurses, recipient, etc. Yet the donor, if still alive, or their family, if not, get nothing. Yeah, it should be legal to sell your organs if you really want to. They try to dissuade that from happening so that they can just take them on the non-free market. I mean, if you want to sell somebody a lung, you should be able to. You should know the risks involved, but you'll still you have to pay for the procedure. So, that'd probably take away most of that money. I think that's the point. Sigil Stone, I fed a McNugget to a chicken once. The chicken disturbingly enjoyed it. Yeah, chickens are cannibals. So are many other animals. But humans are intelligent enough to understand why that's probably not generally a good idea because of pathogens. The pathogens common to humanity are common to us all, and so eating the meat of other humans carries an increased risk over eating like fish or something like that. Sphincter tastes like calamari, probably. Ew, yeah. Eat that there horse asshole, yeah. Eat the intestines. That's basically haggis. I want to try haggis. That would be up my alley. The bonus holes. You sure there isn't enough fat on the average person with the obesity epidemic being a thing? Yeah, but would it be like marbled up like bacon or like a fatty steak or something? Probably not. Yeah, let's roast a person. Yeah, and you just scrape out all the fat, tallow it off, cook food in it or something. I don't know if you're into that. The funny thing is, I've thought of this before. Let me go on a little mini rant here before I get to this weird eBay story. I've often thought as a content creator, because I've appeared before tens of millions of people over the time I've been making content, arguably over 100 million individuals at this point. I have to grapple mentally with the fact that probably there have been serial killers who have watched my material. There could be a serial killer that's still at large that's watching this video right now. It's an interesting thought. That if you've got any audience at all, you've been watched by a murderer, you've been watched by a rapist, you've been watched by a child molester and weird shit like that. You have to grapple with that fact. People from all around the world, some of them maybe not the nicest people in the world. Also, you may have been secretly been watched by Taylor Swift at some point or something. I don't think that my particular content is down her alley. I like to think of that and remind myself of it sometimes because I just find it fascinating. I mean, serial killer with 50 kills to their name might be watching this live stream right now. Just don't hunt me down, bro. Sparky, I think Cheney's on an electric heat. It's constant flow, so he has no heartbeat. Maybe it's temporary, but I seem to recall that it's permanent. Huh. The bonus holes, we could render the fat and use it as fuel. Yeah, supposedly that's been done before multiple times by certain cultures in history during war times. Remember in World War I, they said that the Huns were doing that. There was another world war in which they said other groups were doing that on a regular basis too, but we won't talk any more about that particular topic on YouTube. Sigil Stone, I can confirm there's a serial killer at large watching you right now. Yeah, I mean, there's 4,000 people watching. Statistically speaking, a number of them, possibly upwards of several hundred, are felons. Not that most of them are violent felonies. I'm hoping that if any of you have ever murdered somebody, just, don't come after me with the axe. I'm armed and shit. Sigil Stone, he's also wanted for war crimes in Yugoslavia. You mean wasted bonehead? Blood on the blade. How long before the government starts attempting to exterminate citizens in their own country? Oh, they do that anyway. That's already done. Witch Hunter FB. Hello, fellow serial killers. Always bathe your victims in milk first for a better taste. Yeah, serial killer. I remember that. That reference is age-old. Generalissimo Liberty, why is Asa still in the GOP race? I have absolutely no clue what he's thinking at this point. Nobody talks about him. He doesn't give pressers or anything like that. He has no campaign. I don't know why he hasn't dropped out yet. I mean, nobody really cares because, I mean, his endorsement wouldn't mean anything. Maybe he's just waiting to see what happens after Iowa and New Hampshire. Like if the race thins, then he can belatedly endorse Trump or something like that. Yeah, Zachary Hughes is right. The Japanese were notorious for torturing prisoners and doing weird shit with chemicals and viruses. Like, as in, I think they had a special unit that was solely responsible. They take shells and they filled them with plague, like clay shells, and they were launching them over into other areas and giving people plague or something like that. Yeah. 2 of the 6 groomsmen in our wedding are felons, and my husband didn't even know, said Seta. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Unit 73, 731. I mean, it is kind of weird to think about that. Statistically, there's no possibility right now that at least a number of people watching haven't committed significant crimes. Yeah, it's interesting. Generalissimo Liberty. My grandparents are a few guys that are Japanese, the Japanese castrated when they were prisoners of war. Yeah. And now the final news story of the day. So we'll get over the serial killer commentary. Feds charge eBay over employees who sent live spiders and cockroaches to company to pay $3 million. This was not on my bingo list for the year, but again, nothing at this point fucking surprises me. Boston, online retailer eBay Incorporated will pay $3 million fine. That's a lot of money for a few eBay transactions to resolve criminal charges over a harassment campaign waged by employees who sent live spiders, cockroaches, and other disturbing items to the home of a Massachusetts couple, according to court papers filed Thursday. The Justice Department charged eBay in a criminal information with stalking, witness tampering, and obstruction of justice. The employees already were prosecuted in the extensive scheme to intimidate David and Ina Steiner more than 3 years ago. The couple produced an online newsletter called E-Commerce Bites that upset eBay executives with its coverage. Again, I use eBay. I've never had any problems with them, and I see them as sort of the good guys of e-commerce because it's like Amazon has its issues and stuff, and eBay tends to be a bit more freewheeling. And again, the junk drawer lots and the vintage cologne and all that shit that you can get on eBay, you're not going to find as much of it on other comparable websites. And you're not going to find it on fucking Alibaba or Amazon or Etsy or something like that. So I don't have a problem with eBay. Please do not mail me spiders. But it's fucking hilarious. eBay has entered into a deferred prosecution agreement that could result in the charges against the California headquartered company being dismissed if it complies with certain conditions, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Massachusetts. eBay engaged in absolutely horrific criminal conduct. The company's employees and contractors involved in this campaign put the victims through pure hell in a petrifying campaign aimed at silencing their reporting and protecting the eBay brand, acting Massachusetts U.S. Attorney Josh Levy said in an emailed statement. The Steiners, the newsletter's publisher and editor, have also sued the e-commerce giant in federal court, describing how cyber stalking and upsetting deliveries of anonymously sent packages upended their lives. Ina Steiner received harassing and sometimes threatening Twitter messages, as well as dozens of strange emails from groups like an irritable bowel syndrome patient support group and the Communist Party of the United States. This is a harassment campaign. They deserve a payout. Along with a box of live spiders and the cockroaches, the couple had a funeral wreath, a bloody pig mask, and a book about surviving the loss of a spouse show up at their door. Their home address was also posted online with announcements inviting strangers to yard sales and parties. The harassment started in 2019 after Ina Steiner wrote a story about a lawsuit brought by eBay that accused Amazon of poaching its sellers, according to court records. A half hour after the article was published, eBay's then CEO, David Wenig, sent another top executive a message saying, "If you are ever going to take her down, now is the time." Well, there's signed, sealed, delivered. They're going to get rich off of this. They'll get their settlement. And apparently this was a number of individuals. The executive sent Wenig's message to James Bao, who was eBay's senior director of safety and security, and called Ina Steiner a biased troll who needs to get burned down, all in caps. That was among 7 former employees who ultimately pled guilty to charges in the case. He was sentenced in 2022 to almost 5 years in prison. Another former executive, David Harville, was sentenced to 2 years. Yeah, when you send people poisonous spiders and shit like that, at some point you got to, expect to get your comeuppance. This is insane. And keep in mind, eBay is a big corporation. These are top executives talking about this and lower executives actually acting it out. Do you think that same rate of pettiness and squabbling and so forth exists in other comparably sized companies like, I don't know, Facebook or YouTube or any of the others? Like if you criticize them too much, then they might do something about the fact that you're criticizing them, especially if it's on their own platforms where they have wide latitude. It seems to genuinely be the case. We've seen cases of this with other companies as well. It's just they don't typically get caught out in it as much because they tend not to be mailing people shit. I mean, if somebody mailed me a box of spiders, I would probably just laugh at it and think like, what the fuck? Well, it wasn't a bomb. It wasn't anything that was dangerous. I mean, spiders, I mean, if they were huntsman spiders, maybe black widows or something, I would laugh my ass off if somebody mailed me spiders and say, well, somebody doesn't like me. Just don't do it anonymously. I won't even fucking report it unless they're particularly venomous. I'll just put them outside in the garden and it'd actually be helpful to me. They should have turned lemons into lemonade and done that. They should have made a YouTube series, weird shit that eBay is anonymously mailing to us. They'd make more than the 3 million probably by now. Spiders are good. The fuck is the problem with spiders? But I mean, they do deserve, after such a long harassment campaign, they deserve millions, yeah. The gunslinger. What would it actually take to pop something off between the feds and the populace? It seems like the feds are reluctant to let us protect the country. Well, it looks like in Texas they already are. The Texas State Guard showed up and forced the feds away from Shelby Field there in Eagle Pass and said, fuck you. Which I support, by the way. They'll get sued by the DOJ over it, but I support Texas in that. Baron Von Blair. Salutations from California. Not everyone here is a foolish, smooth-brained face diaper. Off to Pumpa da Poo-Poo. Clank. Yeah, no, I know there are plenty of based people in California. It's just, you should move to a more based state. Sparky. Houthis are only blocking Israeli-bound ships, not others. U.S. escalation blocks the others by making the area too hot for insurance. I don't know if any insurance company in their right mind would be insuring vessels going through that general zone, regardless of what flag they had on their vessel, actually, at the moment. I wouldn't want to, would you? You'd be paying out a lot of money. Alvman, happy Friday, everyone. Quick self shout out for my tiny YouTube channel, ALVMAHN. Quick unboxing, show and tell, book reviews, and artsy videos. Intriguing. Sigilstone. Oh, Ari, your video about the legal attack on the militia this morning. The government bombing a neighborhood was the move bombing in Philly. Yes, thank you for that. Sigilstone. I'm going to mail you live spiders. Sounds like something from Archer. Yeah, I remember there used to be a parody account. By the way, send no more super chats, please, everyone, because, I have to go do other things. And it's Friday. I want to conk off a little bit early here. I'm running up on the Quarterings time slot, and I really don't want to screw him over because he's a good content creator and watch some of his stuff sometimes. But I remember there was a parody account of the Food Network once on Twitter. Unfortunately, they're gone. I should have archived everything. It was fucking hilarious. And they were obsessed with Guy Fieri. But there was this one tweet that they made, and it was fake advice from the fake Food Network. And it was something like, do you want to spice up your next Thanksgiving dinner with your family? Toss a bag of live spiders at the ceiling fan or something like that. And I think I was drunk at the time, so I found it even funnier than it was. The Guy Fieri stuff was hilarious, though. One of them was like, tonight on, I can't remember the name of his show. Tonight on his show, Guy Fieri will put jelly beans in the chili and cry about how his parents didn't love him. Or tonight on Guy Fieri's show, he'll make a shit fart in his jean shorts. Stuff like that. It was great. Oh, man, I wish I had archived that goddamn page. All of that great humor lost forever, and I don't know why they got rid of that parody account because it's so fucking funny. And they deleted the account. It wasn't banned. Joshua Tilley, what up, Sticks? Colorado here, and we're based. Denver and Boulder, fuck it up for the rest of the state. Trump Ramaswamy 2024. Yeah, Ramaswamy would be okay. I still think that he's a plant, but a lot of you disagree with me, so I will accept that as long as Trump is the nominee. I will not vote for Nikki Haley, and I would not vote for Ron DeSantis, but I don't have to worry about that because he's got a 0% chance now. He's about to get curb stomped in Iowa. If he comes in third, he's well worn. Just fucking drop out, endorse Trump, and be done with it because then the writing will be on the wall. Yeah. Now to watch, somebody will mail me a box of spiders now, by the way, because I even talked about that. I know I'm gonna get weird shit in the mail from somebody. I've gotten some weird shit in the mail before. I had a stalker for a while, actually. He sent me whole like folders full of weird shit talking about wanting to get married and hang out and sending me your phone number and stuff like that. And it's like, I appreciate the thought, but you know, I'm in a relationship and I'm not into that. And, you know, it's kind of creepy. Just did that on 5 or 6 different occasions, actually. I've still got all of that correspondence, by the way. I did keep it. I keep all the correspondence that I get, no matter what it is. I don't care if somebody sends me a letter telling me to kill myself. I'm still going to keep the letter. Don't worry. If you send me weird shit, unless it's something outright illegal or particularly dangerous, I'm not going to report it because I'll be too busy laughing. Meetcha Manifesto. Styx isn't as smart as he thinks he is. When did I ever call myself a genius, dude? Yeah, she down bad for the 10.2. No, literally. That was basically the sum of the correspondence. And there was a bunch of weird, like, picture. Maybe I wouldn't show it off because it's still, you know, a person's privacy. But there's some really weird shit in it. There were hundreds and hundreds of little cutout pictures that were all carefully laminated, and entire stories and like a huge fold out with all sorts of stuff on it. And I don't know. I thought it was amusing, though. I don't feel threatened by anyone. Like, I've been stalked before. I've had people send death threats. I've never felt threatened. Sparky, been around poorest of the poor, all the way up to the elitist of the elite. As you go up, the pettiness factor increases exponentially. I have noticed this, yes. Electric Centaur, can I have her phone number? No, I'm not going to give out anyone else's personal shit. I found it amusing and harmless. It's like, I don't worry about anyone showing up with duct tape and a butcher's knife or anything like that. I mean, that would probably amuse me too. I don't know. Would I even want to defend myself against him, or might I be too busy doubled over laughing at that point? It might be the latter. I have a low threshold for finding things fucking hilarious when they don't make sense. Amber Obney, you like crazy? I've been with some crazy people, yeah, just saying. I am being hyperbolic, of course. If somebody actually did show up with duct tape and a butcher's knife, I would call the police and be strapped. Thankfully, I always am. I can't show you that, by the way, on a live stream. It's against YouTube's TOS, so don't tell nobody I'm armed at the moment. But yeah, I've seen some really crazy shit. I've gotten messages that are way, way above and beyond in the crazy zone. You should have seen it back in the day when YouTube had a messaging system. Some of you, you didn't even join it early enough to know this, but YouTube used to have a DM system similar to Twitter. I would see the craziest shit. And people would ask me advice on literally anything. So people would be asking me existential questions about their life, like, you know, my parents are dead and this is happening. I got raped and stuff like that. And I'm like, I tried my best to help them as much as I could. This would happen every single day back when DMs were open on YouTube. Turd Fergberg, grippy socks, grippy box. Ooh. Generalissimo Liberty. Hopefully she does not tie you up and tell you to write a novel for her. Well, she stopped sending the correspondence, and it's been years now, so I'm assuming she, I don't know, calmed down and found somebody else to date or something like that. But yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go offline now. I thank you to the nearly 4,000 people who watched live. Again, there are links in the description to merch pages for Pumpkin Firecrafts and Anton's Biltong, as well as pinned at the top on YouTube and cross-platform in the description. My books blog, you can get those as for your friends, for your family. Massive library of occultism. Literally tomes worth of material. I've made compilations for demonology, black magic, herbal medicine, and things like that, fortune telling. It's all there. Got some political works too under the My Works header as well. King James IX. I love stalkers. Would be leaving the window open. Yeah, I mean, I am armed at all times. To be clear, I'm never outside of arm's reach of a gun unless I'm in a building where they're not allowed. So, I mean, I live on the edge of the North Woods. So, you know, a rabid animal or a bear could wander onto the property at any time. I would like to be able to take quick action. Just saying, I would be more worried about some of the people in the world, though, than the animals. You know, they're not likely to attack you unless they're really hungry. People just attack you because they don't like something you just said. That doesn't usually happen with bears and coyotes. All right, everyone, that's about all.